All right. Well, this past weekend in this combat sports world, we had a lot of memorable moments, but one of the big stars of the weekend, probably the biggest star of the weekend, in my opinion, is my guest at this time. She defeated Paige VanZant in the main event of BKFC's Knucklemania. Let us say hello to Britain Hart. Britain, I appreciate this very much. How are you?
I am doing great, Mr. Heck. Thank you. I just actually left the gym, so I'm still in this unreal state of mind if things are really as different as they seem. But I've just been loving this moment. And I mean, regardless of my face being all puffy and bruised, it's definitely been some crazy experiences. It feels like I'm living the dream.
Yeah. How crazy has your life been since Friday night? I assume it's just been bananas since then.
It absolutely has. I just started responding to people today saying, I'm sorry, it was out of control. Because I really just didn't want to take away from the moment. Of course, Friday was the night. So I really needed to be with my team, my coaches and corner that were there for me. And then the people that came and traveled all the way to watch me fight in person, I wanted to make sure that I was with them. So that kind of, I haven't really got to reach out and tell the world really how I'm thinking, how I'm processing this. And then I had to go to the doctor and I had like emergency dental work. So I was in the dentist like all day Saturday, didn't get out till 8 and I was exhausted. And then Sunday was flying back to California. So now here's my moment right now to just really process it and share to all you guys, like really how unreal of a moment this is. But then again, it's like the common thing everyone is saying, you deserve this, Britain. And that's going back to that feeling, man, the feeling of like working hard and really working for something and believing you can do it and it happening. Like that is an insane feeling. So I'm definitely feeling it.
There's just so much I have to ask you about, Britain. First off, like heading into the fight, and I said this many times in the buildup, you were a fighter where the record didn't sort of accurately reflect the fighter that was going to get into that ring and fight Paige VanZant on Friday. You were a fighter that paid your dues along the way, and you seem to have learned a lot of lessons along the way that not a lot of fighters get the chance to do, especially like you did it so early in your career. Like, is that accurate? And if so, like how much did that early road that you traveled help put you in the position that you're in right now?
Yeah, so the greatest quote ever to describe that is I failed my way to greatness. Like I literally have failed so many things and have so many life situations, ring situations. I've traveled and gotten robbed. I've had decisions. I've had draws. I've taken hard fights on 1 week notice. And I've always put on a hell of a show. Like everyone who sees me fight is like exactly what I think a lot of the world is going right now. Who is this girl? Like, who's this girl that comes in? Like, that's the common reaction. Like, who does she think she is? But it's been like that for years. And no matter what, even when I fell, like just barely, because I never really, failed miserably, but I would fail just slightly. But it would be such a failure to where I learn from it and I grow from it. And now people think that, they might say I'm a mediocre boxer, but you got to look who I was with and against. I went out of weight classes. I fought tough, hard people. I fought people with no notice. I just got off my couch and went and gave a hell of a fight. So it kind of just shows, anybody can do anything at a given time. And I think that's why we really love sports and especially combat sports, because you just never know. And I know with Paige saying I was an easy opponent, and when she said it sounded like an easy win for her and didn't even want to say my name, like that drove me to be like basically inside laugh, because I know the power I have. And I'm like, wow, you are not getting an easy fight with me. Like I'm the last person in the world anybody should say and think they're getting an easy fight.
Did you say you've traveled to different fights and you've gotten robbed? What happened?
Yeah, so like a big one is in Texas. So in Dallas, Texas, last February, you can look up the YouTube video. And I think it has like 15,000 views on it and like hundreds of comments. And every single comment is like, wow, that was highway robbery. Every single comment. And it was
I'm sorry.
Dallas.
I thought I forgot robbed can be used in different ways. I thought you meant like actually like criminally robbed.
Oh, yeah.
But you may have been in the fight.
Yeah, I got robbed in a fight, but I have gotten robbed criminally too. So I went up to Ohio for a fight and someone stole my card when I was in Columbus, Ohio. Could you imagine how stressful that was? For a fight, they stole my card and withdrew like all my money out of my account. And I was like, even calling Wells Fargo, like, you better stop this. And they were like, we're sorry, our systems are temporarily down. So it's funny you say that, because I have actually had that happen to me too.
Oh my God. Sheesh. So this road is bumpier than any of us thought, probably.
Yeah, that's why people, like, if you know me, you get it, because you're like, wow, that is something that Britain would just, like, I go through every single life situation at least once, like good and bad. I have been through it and lived through it all. And people just don't realize and know about it, but it has been a ride. And I know a lot of people are like, man, if your life was a reality TV show, everybody would be watching.
They're watching now, that's for sure. Going back to when Paige signed with BKFC, obviously that surprised a lot of people, because when she left the UFC, most people thought she would go to Bellator with her husband and continue her MMA career. When you found out that Paige was going to sign with BKFC, how did you react to that?
I laughed. I thought it was good. I'm a company girl. Obviously, I'm BKFC, and I love representing that and saying that I was there in the beginning and I was a pioneer. So to kind of have Paige come in and not have even fought, and for her to be like, flashing that she's number one, and for her to get the main event and be at the top, and now they're pushing her. I kind of wanted to, show my message that I can do this too, and be, just as good as Paige VanZant. So anyways, when she came over, I kind of was like, man, I was happy for us as a good acquisition to the team, but it was also kind of like a driving inside factor. Like, hey, I want to be as good as this girl. And if they're going to bring her in, I kind of want to show them that, like, look, you had it all along. What you were asking for, you had, but you just didn't notice it, because I needed a platform like that to prove myself. And so I thought it was good. A lot of people messaged me and they were like, you and Paige are going to fight. You and Paige are going to fight. And I even said it then. I said, trust me, they're not going to put me as her first fight, because I would kill her, and they know I would beat her. Everybody knows that I would beat her. And that's why they didn't want to put me and make that fight. But when she stepped in the ring and said, sounds like an easy win for you, and she took, when she came in on November 13th, she kind of just signed her death sentence with me, at least.
I thought the build to this fight was really interesting, because obviously Paige comes with that big name, and BKFC obviously has a lot invested in her. But when you watch like the promotional packages and everything, it seemed to me, and I'm not sure if you're like a pro wrestling fan or not, but it looked like to me that you were positioned as like the baby face here, and Paige was kind of the heel in this situation. Like, you were the underdog trying to take this giant step in your career, almost fighting for the purity of your sport. That's like kind of how I saw it. And that to me showed me that BKFC had your back in all of this. Like, this wasn't the Paige VanZant show. This was the Paige and Britain Hart show, which had to make you feel even better about it. Did you sort of view it the same way?
No, I absolutely did. And the thing is in my career, again, leading back to my box rec, so many people have taken advantage of me. So a lot of people were like, hey, Britain, this isn't going to be good for you. A lot of people didn't believe in me in that aspect. They're like, they want Paige to win. Everyone wants Paige to win. And I kind of even looked at them and was like, I really don't see it that way. BKFC is making me feel like this is really my sport and I really belong. And they're giving me like this true Rocky story. Like, I get to live out the female Rocky story through BKFC, and they let me do that. So, when people would say, oh, they're setting you up with Paige, I'm like, no, they're giving me an opportunity. And I think that they made it very fair. I think in the road to VanZant, we had equal showing time, and we had equal positive points and equal negative points. And I think it really was a 50-50 fight in a lot of the viewers' eyes. But people that really know me and like really train with me every day, they knew, they didn't have 1% of doubt. And it kind of seemed like it with her too, that maybe she isn't really meant for BKFC, because she kind of is already stuck in her ways. Like, she was late to some of the press conferences. She was late and didn't follow some of the rules on what was expected as an athlete. And I kind of thought that as being like kind of disrespectful to an organization you're trying to make a place for and come in. And, I think that to be champion, it involves like the whole thing, like BKFC being on time as an athlete, making weight as an athlete, like all those other things that come into it that she necessarily didn't do right off the jump either. So I think, when you're looking for someone to represent your company, you should look for great things like that.
Did some of that sort of stew into the weigh-in itself? Because it was obviously memorable, it got a lot of attention, it got a lot of extra eyeballs on the product for sure. Like, what happened there from your perspective? Like, what was said, what was going on in your mind as all of this is unfolding between you and Paige at the weigh-in?
Right. So it's a weigh-in, and, we already had our press conference, which was pretty basic. But the weigh-in, it's the day before the fight. Everything's heated up. And I just wanted to, I wasn't doing anything crazy. I wasn't going to put my hand on her, or pull her hair, or smack her. I just ran up on her, like, to get extremely close to her face to kind of set the message that this sport is going to be uncomfortable and I'm going to make you uncomfortable in it. But I wasn't going to touch her or anything like that. And I think that you've seen that very often at weigh-ins. How many weigh-ins have you seen people go like they're basically touching nose to nose? So I don't think that I was doing anything outlandish. But when she, went to go put her hand on my neck, my throat, I kind of just like, that's that fighter instinct in me again. I kind of was like, what the hell is she doing that for? Like, I'm doing something normal coming up in your face for a weigh-in photo, and you want to put your hands on me around my neck. Like, I don't know if she was like snapping or that was just the fear or something else going on. But, obviously it came out in aggression and the fact that I think it proved the message that she was thinking that she might have been above everything and that she makes the rules and that she's not having respect coming into a game where I know all the rules and know how to do it. So, I just didn't think that was a smart move against a veteran.
Did you feel like her reaction to that whole thing, did that boost your confidence at all? Because like a lot of times, like, I don't know what happens when you get into those face-offs, but a lot of times fighters can see something and they feel something right away that like boosts their confidence. Like maybe there's like an unsurety or something like that. Did you feel that way on Thursday night?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a huge uncertainty. So, and I could break that apart, but I think if you watch the film, if you see the picture looks like, it almost looks like she's punking me down and more that she's the alpha, but I take it back when you look at it, me setting, I came up first, I was close to her. She reacted. I feel like it was kind of out of fear. And then when she put her hands behind her back and kind of just stood there, I felt like, what she said? She said, we'll fight tomorrow. And I'm like, but you put your hands on me first. So if you're going to tell me calm down that we're going to fight tomorrow and play the good guy right now, when you put your hands on me first, so that's kind of what it was. But the fact that how she said it and she was kind of looking down and was like, no, we'll fight tomorrow. I could see that she was kind of scared to break it down there on the stage, and she left. When we went out of the stage again, that shows like win or lose in the heat of the motion. I'm going to stay around and do my job. She left right after weigh-ins and like no one knew where she went, where I kind of stayed and, finished my rounds and talking to people and staying with my team and making sure everything was good. So I just was in more of a calm atmosphere of being myself.
So getting to Friday night, first of all, the first fight on the main card between Taylor Jenkins and Carissa Sagala, those two ladies beat the brakes off of each other. That was a crazy fight. And as somebody who is about to be in the main event at the end of the night, you're probably watching that like, oh my God, this is incredible. How much did that fight fire you up for later on that night?
Oh, the whole thing. I was in the locker room yelling, like it hyped me up. I was screaming. I was like, oh man, I was like critiquing the heck out. I was definitely team Taylor. So I was like yelling and trying to coach Taylor from the locker room. But I was sitting there thinking, dude, for me, I already know what to do. I'm already good. Been there, done that. But I'm like thinking Paige has got to be watching this thinking, holy hell. Like, I know what it is, and it looks way worse than what it was. But, it was intimidating looking. Like, even one of my corners who was, his first bare knuckle event, he was like, oh, that's going to be you in main event. And I'm like, hell, I'm not getting cut up like that. I'm going to cut her up like that and move and get out of someone and cut angles and do some things. But, everyone has an opinion when they're watching on the outside in. But that was, it made me ready for it so much. And I'm sure it intimidated the hell out of her. Who wouldn't? I'm just crazy, lack fear. So, but anybody else, that's pretty intimidating.
Yeah, that was a wild fight. I don't know if it happened like before that fight or after, but you did a pre-fight interview with Brian Sosha in the back. And you were fired up. You were ready to go. You had that look in your eye. And then you dropped like a great line at the end. And you said something to the effect of, fear is the pathway to the dark side, and I am the dark side. Like, what did that mean to you as you were thinking? Because he kind of put you on the spot, so I get it, but you dropped that line like so professionally. What did that all mean?
Yes, I'm so glad you said that because I've been dying to tell people about it because I'm like, man, I feel like that was like when people are like, when did you know you won? And I was like, I won the fight before the fight even started because I did drop that line. And it was in reference to her at the weigh-in because she put her hand around my throat. So when I saw the picture, it kind of looked like Darth Vader to me, like, putting up being like, Luke, I am your father. So we were just laughing it off. They didn't make me out of my comfort zone. I wasn't like, everyone's like, oh, Britain acted out of character and she's all mad and stuff like that. But I wasn't trying to do that. So it was kind of me showing that I, was aware of the situation and what she did and that I was still level-headed. Like I wasn't somebody that was shook up or riled up because she put her hands on me. So I kind of wanted to show that, one, what you did, I know why you did it, and it was out of fear. So you didn't put your hands on me to be the alpha female or punk me down. You put your hands on me out of fear, and that fear leads to the dark side, and meaning like once you go back in this, like it's a different type of power. So I kind of said it as a straight direct message to her for her choking me, and I am the dark side and welcome to it because I don't have any fear, and anybody going to BKFC is going to have some fear in the beginning, which leads to suffering.
There you go. So the fight begins and Paige is moving around a lot. There's a lot of that lateral movement. In the first round was a pretty close round, but then you took over 2, 3, and 4. It was all you. There's no doubt about it. I mean, she did hit you, but you were doing very well in the fight. And you mentioned her power in the aftermath. She hit you very hard. But outside of that, did anything else surprise you in there?
Honestly, the whole fight was kind of a surprise. I was thinking that she was going to come in, like in all of training camp, I was thinking that she wanted a dirty box and that she was going to come in the clinch. So that's really what we trained for. But when I first started out the fight, I remember round 1, me really trying to do the whole I'm going to hit you first because I try to stay true to my word. And I told her, I'm going to touch you first tomorrow because she touched me first at the weigh-in. So I was really trying to execute that and make sure that I lived up to that. But I don't really remember anything notable besides she was like not like she was circling. She was doing a lot of circling. I'm like, man, well, it's hard to set up your jab on someone that's circling. I want to really practice and work on cutting off the ring at first. And I think you see that in the first round. I'm figuring out how to do that with a circular ring. And then I caught her with a really good combination right at the end of round 1. Like it was, I think that stole the round personally, because I think the first couple of seconds was just really being shocked that she didn't want to engage. And then once the second and third round came, I was really just, super confident in everything that I got this and I got stay to the game plan. I think that when we were clinching and I knew she was going to be really strong, I tried to prove that I was dominant in the clinch. So I remember whenever we got in the clinch, I could just think she's going to be training dirty boxing and I'm going to outwork her in dirty boxing. Like nobody can outwork me in dirty boxing, which is what you guys saw. But obviously it took a lot out of me. And when she did, like I actually got this new technique on how to block uppercuts, and I'm super thankful for it because it helped block a lot of them that would have been probably devastating. But obviously this is the sport, and her job is to hit me. So a few of them went through. So the few that broke through of my defense, when they landed, they really did hurt, and it was like it took a lot more out of me than I was expecting. So I think some people said that she turned it up in the 5th round. I watched the 5th round again, and I feel like, she looked good because she was actually throwing and engaging now rather than circling out. But I think if you go back and look at all the exchanges, that if she hit me a good time, I hit her a good time after, and I never backed up. Where after every exchange with her, she backed up after I hit her and didn't keep going. So I really feel like that's what won me the fight, because when she hit me, I just dug down deep. And when I hit her, she was out. Like, I would be interested for her to say how hard I hit because, she was backing up. But I stayed in there and she did hit hard. And, again, the 5th round was like, man, I pulled that out with everything. That was everything else I had in me right in that round.
How many times have you watched it since Friday?
3.
3 times.
3 times, but 3 like pausing and rewinding times, like pause, rewind, pause. So, essentially it was watching moments. So there's certain moments I've watched 1,000 times. Like, in the clinch, there's one clip in the clinch, the part where my mouthpiece comes out of my mouth. I've watched that clip like 1,000 times. I watched this awesome uppercut I land on her 1,000 times. But as far as the whole fight, I'm sure I'll watch it 1,000 times when I get everything caught up with my thank yous to everybody.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty much unanimous all over social media that you had won the fight. And when it was over, you're standing there waiting for the decision to be read. I mean, were you feeling fully confident that your name would be called? Like, I felt like you won the fight. There's no doubt about it. But I can understand as a fighter, it can be a little bit uneasy at times for you when you hand it over to 3 people that sometimes don't know what they're watching.
Yeah, honestly, I was kind of devastated inside because everybody asked for the fight prediction, and I said I was going to knock out Paige VanZant in the 3rd round. So in the 3rd round, this is why it sucks, and you should learn, like, sometimes as fighters, it's hard to make those expectations because when you don't do it, you can kind of take it hard. So when the 3rd round came out and I went into the 4th round, there was a moment of, oh, shit, like, I was really banking on I really believed in myself to knock her out in the 3rd round. Like I got to get this. And I was focusing on it a little bit harder than normal. So I think that's also why I kind of tired and fatigued a little more because I was really focusing on the knockout. So when the fight ended, that's all I could think of. I wasn't even thinking how great I did or all the awesome things I did. I was thinking, man, I didn't knock her out, like I said. And because I didn't knock her out, I'm probably not going to win because, this is the story of my life. It's the classic story. Like I said, I failed my way to greatness. I would put so much effort and work so hard and then something wouldn't go in my favor because, life isn't fair or, I got the short end of the stick or whatever it was. I was just kind of already prepared in my heart, that was going to happen to me again. So when I found out I won the decision, I mean, that's why you see the reaction that you did because I was already thinking I didn't win. But if I watched the film, like talking to you right now, watching back the fight, I 100% won. Like, I feel like I won, honestly, almost every round in my heart. I mean, there was one maybe that was a little even, but I still think that I would have rather been me in all the rounds that there were. But anyways, when I got that feeling that I won by decision, it was, of course, I overacted a little bit more than usual because it was a surprise to me too that people are actually, living up to their word and being fair in their decisions and choice making.
So let's talk about the post-fight interview. First of all, you're enjoying this moment. It's the biggest win of your career. You're on cloud 9, and all of a sudden, a woman comes into the ring and gets in your face, and water's being poured, and it gets a little out of hand. And as I'm watching, I'm like, who the hell is that? Because no one's on the broadcast telling us who it is. And it turns out it was Jenny Savage who got in there and you called her trash. So like, you're trying to enjoy this moment. What happened there? Like, did you and Jenny have like some sort of beef before this? Like, what is going on in your mind as she's coming into the ring?
Yeah. So honestly, I was just talking. I didn't even recognize her. Like, I thought it was literally some random, like, I am joking, but I really did. I thought it was some random ass prostitute. I didn't even think that it was Jenny Savage. I was like, because she was wearing like this tube top. Her makeup was outlandish. It was ridiculous. And she's just spazzing out, going off crazy. Like, her hair was flying everywhere. And I'm like thinking, it really took me a second to realize who it was. And then when I realized it was Jenny Savage, I was kind of like, oh, psh. And that's why I poured the water on her because I was like, dude, you need to chill out because she's crazy. I commentated her fight, right? This is how it started. And she got Sheena Starr with a really good overhands. It was awesome. So I went up to her after the fight and I said, hey, your overhand is your best punch. Like, congratulations. And she just looks at me and goes, that's not my best punch. You haven't even seen my best punch yet. And I'm like, whoa, dude, I was trying to give you a compliment and say, that you did good. Like, I don't know why you got to flip it around, but your jab definitely ain't your best punch. So I don't know what's up with you right now. And she just stormed off. So I was like, wow. So then I find out on Facebook, she blocks me just randomly. I don't even talk about her because I really don't care about her at all. She's really honestly insignificant to anything in my life. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, I want the Paige fight. And I'm like, well, why would you get the Paige fight when you just fought Sheena Starr and me and Paige have already been established? Paige came in the ring with me. It didn't even need to be somebody that you try to take the limelight. It doesn't even make sense when Paige already said that she would fight me. So Jenny Savage just did what every other girl can do. It's, part of bullying. She made up all these like rumors and said I was like on meth and that I was drinking and that the only reason why I'm big in BKFC is because I sleep with all the people there. Just like, crazy, like super dumb, but so original ideas from her to start any rumor that she can. It was just uncalled for and really disrespectful, but really showed me how you are on a mental level, that you would just make up stuff and say whatever you wanted to just start drama and start shit, like stuff that has zero truth to it. And I hated that this girl did that to like for something that wasn't warranted, and especially someone who dresses like that and behaves like that. And you know, you can see her coming up to the ring. I don't think she's in any predicament to throw stones when she lives in a glass house on what she does with her personal stuff. But regardless of that, she came up and it was just like, man, like me and her fighting is like easy as crap for me, but it shouldn't have been a moment or something that she should have even came in the ring. It's the main event. It's over. You know, if she wanted to call me out, she could have done it later. I think it shows kind of how heartless and tasteless that girl is. But I mean, I hope that I handled it right. And Fusion is an awesome sponsor, so I'm glad that they had water for me.
Well, there you go. I mean, you obviously carried on in a great way, because the speech after the fight has gotten a lot of buzz, Britain. Like most notably, the part where you said that you're not a person, you're an effing feeling, and everyone's gonna feel it. This thing took off like a wildfire since Friday night. Did you expect this thing to go viral the way that it has?
No, I didn't. I'm kind of like in shock about it, because I was really meaning it to be super like, I mean, that's the truth. And it's kind of funny because I've explained it to people before, and that's really the only right way to explain who I am as a fighter and as a person, because it's like, man, I'm a fighter, but I'm a mom, but I'm a friend, but I'm all these things. But the best thing to say is like, I'm a fucking feeling. Like, it's a feeling when you go and hit the bag and you don't quit. It's a feeling when you go in and win and you know, knock your opponent down. It's a crazy feeling. But I'm also one of those people that you can walk into a weigh-in and I'll sit there, be talking to you and be like all positive and energetic. And people are like, who is it? You know, again, who is this girl? But yeah, I had no idea. I think I've gotten a lot of love and hate on it, but I think it goes back to me saying like, this is the real Britain Hart. And like, I don't care. Like, people can try to steal that shine if they want, but you really can't take this from me, because I worked really hard. I worked really hard to show the world that I am a fighter and I'm a contender, and that I am something that's here to stay forever, and not just a name people forget about. Like, oh, remember that one girl who beat Paige VanZant? I wanted to be, man, that girl, when she went up there and did that, we were so excited, jumping out of our seats. And when she was so happy and her team celebrated, like, we had this awesome feeling that we want to do that too. And, you know, it came out a little crazy because, again, I just did bare-knuckle, you know, went 10 minutes getting punched bare-knuckle in the face. And obviously there's a lot of adrenaline and stuff going on, but I definitely didn't have any idea that it would get attention like that, you know, especially being considered the best post after fight speech ever is pretty crazy of a compliment. So I roll with it. I think it's very true and relevant, and I think kind of what the combative sports world needs.
These you're making effing feeling t-shirts now, right? Like, you have to capitalize on this and make those things will sell out in 5 seconds. Like, are we gonna make shirts?
I know. You know what? I need to reach out to MMA Tea Company. I'm sure they will love this. So I'm going to tag them in this interview and go message them right after we get off the phone and be like, hey, so I had a feeling this shirt is going to be a great idea.
It will be. I think people are going to start I think you're going to start a bidding war here, Britain. I'm not going to lie. This thing, it's a no-brainer. It's going to sell in 5 seconds.
Well, I hope so. It's kind of crazy. So being Monday, that might be my really like on my list of things to do, because it's just like, oh man, I don't even know. Like, it's just enjoying the moment while it's here. Like, what do I do now? Like, I'm in the gym training still. I want to fight. I want to keep going strong, but it's like, man, I don't want to, you know, I want to hang on to this moment and this feeling for as long as I can. And it's a great one. It really is. So I'm just enjoying it now and celebrating with all the people who believed in me. Like I said, again, this was for the people who believed in me. So I'm celebrating with them. I'm not worried about being on social media, listening to people be mean about whatever cringy memes they want to make and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm enjoying it with the people that really care about me, and it's just going to be so great going what's next, you know. And I promise you, you guys have just seen a very small part of Britain Hart. Like, I can do so many other things and great things. I'm on to great things. It doesn't stop just because of this.
Yeah, you mentioned, and you talked about it earlier, about you needed some emergency surgery on Saturday. You said in the post fight your teeth were messed up after the fight. You said that she has hit you harder than anybody, and that includes guys that have hit you in the past, which was absolutely like gut wrenching to hear you say. But, you know, after everything, you're back home. How are you feeling now? Teeth okay? Everything else okay?
Yeah, so I have them in, you know, they're splinted in, so it kind of looks like I have braces. So it's not the worst thing in the world. They'll be straighter than, you know, when I started, so that's a positive. So better teeth, so I'm good with that. But it is, you know, basically that's it. They're put in. They'll be in there for like a month, and then we'll go from there and reassess if I need the root canals and have an implant put in. But, you know, again, so this whole thing in camp has been about being a shark and Shark Week, and this is the ocean. Paige VanZant is going to be fish food. So it's kind of why I was saying, like, being a shark, how they lose, you know, it's kind of embodying that feeling of losing teeth. So anyways, I'm sure they'll bounce back though.
There you go. And last thing, I appreciate you giving me so much time. Where do we go from here, Britain? Because, I mean, huge game-changing moment for you. You go out and you beat Paige VanZant. I think she's probably going to want a rematch. I think that would do big business. I'm sure you've probably thought of that idea as well. I mean, there's obviously the Jenny Savage option. I don't know how much you would want that fight. There's some heat there, obviously. But, you know, what do you think? What do you think is like the best thing for you? Maybe a title? What are you thinking?
I definitely am going for the title shot next. I really think, again, it's been vacant for so long. There's a lot of animosity and things going on in BKFC, and a lot of argument on who's the best and who deserves to be that belt holder. So I know Christine is making her way back in. And, you know, Jenny Savage is going to be, she's honestly, I think, a level underneath me, and she should fight, you know, somebody else. But hey, honestly, it's an easy, you know, and again, Paige VanZant used it on me. So I'm not even going to say easy win, but it's going to be, it's going to be easy for me because I'm going to know that she has that disrespect. So I'm going to want to punish her like incredibly much for disrespecting me and coming in my ring and spreading that rumor. So it's going to be kind of like me getting to beat up a bully. So I would love to beat up a bully no matter what, but I kind of want to do it. The next thing be as a title shot. So if she wants to fight, that's cool. Let's go ahead and, you know, talk is cheap. Go put her money where her mouth is and say she'll fight for the title. That way I can get the title over her. So I would definitely love that. So that fight makes sense if it's for the title. If not, you know, I want my chance to be at the title, and whoever I have to go through to that, I'm going to train my ass off for it. And Paige, you know, she said that she'll meet us again and it's a rematch. I mean, I think I clearly beat her. You know, everyone's saying 4 rounds, 100%. I'm honestly thinking every round I beat her, but if she wanted to do it again, I'm a company person and doing what's best. I really believe in teamwork no matter what. And I don't think it's just me. So I could have done better too myself fighting Paige, but I didn't make excuses. I don't have any excuses for what I did in the ring, but all I know is that I can fight better than what you guys saw on February 5th. Like, I can fight better and I can be a better fighter. There's a lot of things that I picked up on that I know I can do and I wish I did. So that's just more exciting to me that if we did do the rematch, I could fix the problems I had fighting against Paige too that would have perhaps knocked her out.
Britain, congratulations. Incredible night for you. It's great to see your hard work paying off. Now you have tons of great options ahead of you. Phenomenal performance. Go enjoy it. Smell those roses because you absolutely deserve it. Thank you so much for the time. Hopefully we can do this again down the road. Congratulations again.
Awesome. I can't wait. And again, whew, what a feeling. Thank you.
Thanks, Britain. Take care.
You too.